Hey, what's up, everybody? Just did my Fear the Dark video, and that got me thinking about something. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but back in the 90s, Nickelodeon was the greatest fucking channel on television ever. Alright? I loved it. There were these shows I loved so much, and they need to either, like, remake these, or bring these back, or fuck it, just bring all the old actors back, have them play it, but, just to name a few, there was, fucking Hey Dude, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, there was this one where they were on a Camp Wana Wana, I believe it was called, Doug, Ren and Stimpy, Global Guts, I don't know if I mentioned Are You Afraid of the Dark yet, but that was actually my favorite show. They had the creepiest fucking intro ever on that show. It was like a child molester's wet dream, if you ever saw the intro of that show, and I'll link it in the thing, and everything, so, man, it was a weird kind of golden time of cartoons. Global Guts I loved a lot, and also live action shows like that, like Legends of the Hidden Temple, all that, Global Guts, Double Dare, damn, there were so many. There was some really good fucking shows on back then, and I think that my most favorite one of the shows had to be Are You Afraid of the Dark, because it was like these weird kind of adult themed shows made for kids, and they just sort of stopped making it and shit like that, and stopped showing it to kids, and that came on Nick late night, and then eventually just didn't come on at all. I heard that they got so many complaints about showing these grotesque monsters, and there was one where kids were swimming in a pool, and this fucking ghost apparently drowns the kids, it drags them under, and this kid came up with an idea that if you pour sulfuric acid in the water, it makes him come to life, and you can visibly see him and shit. And he looked like the gnarliest fucking ghost. He was all skeleton with like flesh hanging off. Another one was about some sort of like computer virus goblin or some shit, and I don't know, it was just a creepy ass little monster. One of my favorite stories was The Tale of the Ghastly Grinner, and I just watched that a minute ago because I was flipping around looking for it. That was actually one of my favorite fucking episodes, this little clown running around, which I'm fucking kind of freaked out by clowns anyway. But yeah, those were some golden fucking shows. I remember one of the characters on The Adventures of Pete and Pete was actually the girl who went on to go play Harriet the Spy. And I think she actually was Harriet the Spy on that show. I can't really remember. Michelle Trachtenberg, who became, Buffy's sister Dawn on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Is now on, like, Gossip Girl or some shit like that. But yeah, those were some really good fucking shows, and I just remember watching them and learning kind of so much about, like, not realistic situations in life, but just how to handle certain forms of crises, or crisis or crisis, whichever you prefer. I don't know exactly how to use it. How to handle myself in a crisis is what I'm saying. Particularly with, like, The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Like, they had these weird fucking stories and adventures they would go on as these two brothers. The younger Pete and the older Pete. And the younger Pete I loved so much because I was around his age, and he was always getting into these fantastical fucking adventures that could never fucking possibly happen in real life. The older Pete was like dealing with girls and more reality-based shit. The younger Pete, he had this arch nemesis called Pit Stain, who had like a gland problem, and he could always smell him coming around, but he didn't smell the kid's armpits. He would always go mint, because the fucking dude liked to eat mints. So he would always smell the mint. He would never smell the dude's fucking gross, nasty armpits. He could actually sneak up on this dude, is what I'm saying. And then there was another arch nemesis the younger Pete had that was so fucking crazy and out there and fantastical to never happen. His name was Paper Cut, alright? Now this kid had fucking scratches and cuts all over his face and his hands and shit. And bandages and shit. And he made all these like little weapons, like ninja type weapons. He had a fucking knife, but it was made out of paper. Like he could cut people with paper and shit. And he like made blow guns that he like, there was one episode where Pete was riding his fucking bike and all of a sudden this little paper like fucking spiked ball comes out into the road and Pete runs over it and the fucking little paper ball that was like a fucking origami paper folded up pops his tire and he goes riding off and crashes into the fucking woods even though he's going probably less than 2 miles an hour. And then Paper comes up, pulls out this paper knife, and he wore this fucking, like, red, like, checkered hunting hat. It had the same pattern Al would wear on Home Improvement, that fucking gay grizzly man shirt he used to wear. And he cut the fucking bill of the hat off. Like, it looked like, you know, it was one of these hats, and the fucking dude just cut the bill off with a fucking paper knife. And it was like, well, this shit would never fucking really happen in real life, but the way Pete handled it was, you know, he fucking just calmly talked to the dude and then he ran away when he was distracted. And I was like, oh, well, that's what I should do. If I ever run, you know, I was a young kid, I was like, well, if I ever run to do with fucking paper weapons, you know, I know what to do. Or if he had a real knife, now I know what to do. It was one of those learning experiences as a kid. And I have to say, one of the funniest fucking cartoons I've ever watched in my life was Ren and Stimpy. If you ever watch Ren and Stimpy, it's these two little assholes. It's a cat and a dog. And the cat is always, or no, it's the dog is always fucking with the cat. I believe. Whichever one Ren was, I believe he was the dog, and Stimpy was the cat. If I'm remembering that right. And Ren always used to beat the shit out of Stimpy, because Stimpy was retarded. Ren kind of was, but Stimpy was a whole lot more retarded. They were always fucking with each other, but the thing I liked the most about that show is, like, they would pull shit out of their ears, like wax or boogers. It would just look like a green glob, right? And then they would cut to this fucking extreme close-up, and you would see all the nasty shit that was in it, like fucking hairs, and just the nastiest shit you ever saw growing out of this shit they picked off their body or something, or they'd have a infected sore from when they were fucking around, one got cut, and it would show all this green fucking slimy pus and shit, but if they pulled the little fucking animated camera back, it looked like just like a cut back close up, and there's fucking maggots and shit like that crawling in it. Just nasty shit like that, but it was kind of funny though. And I would have to say one of the funniest episodes I ever saw of Ren and Stimpy, probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, was this one where Ren brought a scrambled egg to life, and it got emotionally attached to him. The scrambled egg thought Ren was his mother, you know, and so he named it Eggyokyo. Alright, and the fucking, the scrambled egg, like, he leaves it in the fridge to sleep at night, and he thinks he's gonna adopt and raise this fucking scrambled egg. And he goes down one morning, and there's Stimpy about to take a bite out of an egg sandwich, and the fucking thing goes, Mama! And I'll never forget this, it's probably the funniest shit I've ever heard somebody scream. He screams out, Eggyokyo! You know, and he jumps for it, and me and my friends used to laugh about that growing up. We'd always just randomly shout, Eggyokyo! You know, like Pinocchio and egg mixed, for those of you who didn't get it. But I just loved that fucking channel in the 90s. Particularly Are You Afraid of the Dark? Just the creepiest fucking stories I've ever seen. You should check those out if you got a chance, because I'll put the intro in the thing, and you'll see how fucking just creepy and disturbing just the intro was. For me, anyway. I don't know if it'll creep you out, but anyway, that's really all I got, so peace.